finished 1 and 2 in the last segment behind him.
That's Bonsignor in the 51 and Ron Silk in the red and white zeros as we go back to green.
As you can see, Newman right away going to be pretty aggressive here, trying to get to the front.
Looks like Priest as well on the inside, stepping up his game.
During that segment, none of the teams were allowed to change any tires or do any adjustments to their car. So they all got the same tires on, no adjustments. I think they spent the first 20 laps trying to feel those cars out to finish the last 15 laps of this race.
Priest went way deep into 3. Here comes Pennick around Goodell, and he'll move in behind the 0-7 of Emmerling.
Yeah, Patrick Emmerling, he's doing a real good job today. Jan Leedy, who's multiple modified winner here at New Hampshire and won lots of races up north in the Northeast. He's the crew chief of that car, and obviously he's putting all his education into it. And Patrick's won a lot of races driving for Jan throughout the years up in the north, and showing his talent today.
Priest for third. He'll take that as Bonsignor had already moved up to second. Now Priest looking inside. How deep will he go into 3?
As deep as it's going to take to be second.
And he gets it done. But boy, he had to go now because Newman starting to gap the field.
Yeah, I think you'll see the NASCAR modified draft come into play here. They'll catch back up to the 77 in a lap or 2.
Now the former champ Silk has to deal with Rowan Pennick. Rowan looking inside, the blue 3 on the move. And Solomito closes in behind Kobe. A lot of people felt at the end of last year that this could be the year for Timmy Solomito, and he hasn't disappointed, taking the points lead.
No, he hasn't. I think he's won 3 races so far this year. You know, that team's been together now. This is their 3rd year, I believe, and they've gained a lot of experience together. Sly, who is his crew chief, has won championships in the past with Mike Stefanik, has a lot of experience. So really good race team, solid race team, really good car owner, really good backing with Starrett tools. They're going to be a force to reckon with the rest of the year.
Here's that big pack. Kobe coming through on the inside. Whoop, Solomito slipping a little bit. And if you're new to the modifieds, Tommy, this is the only big 1-mile oval that they run on. The rest of the time, it's much smaller bull rings.
Yeah, but they seem to put on the same type of show, a little banging and a little slamming and a little hardcore passing. You know, these guys put on a great show wherever they go throughout the Northeast, and you know, they go as far as New Smyrna, Florida, down during winter, during the speed weeks. Let's put a shout out to the number 70, Andy Zeus. He's done a really good job today, putting himself in good position in the top 5.
Ryan Priest, former champion, trying to work his way up in there, Derek, to be competitive at the end.
Pretty good run for Ryan Priest in that number 6 machine. He started dead last at the drop of the green, already worked his way up to second, and he is going to be a very busy young man this weekend. He's got triple duty to pull this weekend between 2 modified races, and he's going to be in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race tomorrow, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing.
And he's tucked in right behind Ryan Newman, who is also one of his good buddies.
Yeah, these guys work really good together. They're kind of hooked up together, try to get away from the rest of the group so they can fight for the win later on in the race.
Which is coming quickly as we're well inside, 10 to go. These two might settle the win, but boy, there's some good battles going on throughout the field as well. Look at this one here. Silk getting into Pennick a little bit. These cars fighting over 7th.
Yeah, it's getting towards the end of the race, so these guys are starting to battle a little harder than obviously in the beginning.
Dave Sapienza in the 36 getting into this as well as we watch that fight on the right. Goodale coming inside. Boy, that's a good scrap going on back there.
Yeah, these cars now have 30 laps on their tires, and with the new surface that was applied to the outside groove, I think that the handling now is coming into play. These guys are starting to wear their tires out a little bit. The right front tire is probably starting to wear out a little bit, since that's the tire that's in that PJ1 adhesive the most. So Yeah, it's just going to be fun to watch, see how the race turns out.
Oh, Silk. A little bit of an issue there. Solomito gets by him. Sapienza trying to do the same. That's all that fight on the right side of your screen. Here comes Christopher, 3 wide, and Ted moves through in the 82. Meanwhile, Newman continues to lead over the 6 of Ryan Preece.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see when Preece is going to make his move. You know, obviously Ryan has been involved in many outcomes of races before, so Ryan Preece is going to have to outthink Ryan Newman here to try to win this race for sure.
Well, we know you can run it awfully deep into the corner, but then you set yourself up for the crossover move from the guy you just passed.
But the key is, when is he going to do it? When he, you know Newman is going to be looking for that last lap pass going down the backstretch going into 3. Will Preece try and do it there or earlier?
So when will that move get made? Let's see if Derek has any insight.
Guys, Mike Herman Jr. just came over the radio talking to Ryan Preece and said, you're going to get 1 shot at this, and it's going to be on the last lap.
But does he do it going into 1? A little bit of a slip there, it looked like, out of Preece's car. Or does he wait to go to 3? What would you do?
Well, I think he's thinking that as he's trying to go for the lead here with a little more than 1 lap to go. But, you know, I know Newman is looking for it to happen going into 3 on the last lap. I think Preece will probably try it a little bit earlier than that.
So maybe Preece didn't show everything he's got going into 1 that time. Here they come down into 3. They'll see the white flag.
Preece is going to try to gain some momentum here off the turn 4. Here he goes.
Here he comes. Preece down into turn 1.
Oh, he really drove it in there. Oh, he gets into the 77.
Oh, he did. Contact, and Newman gets loose. That's going to be enough. He will run out of time and won't have a shot at making an attack back.
I think Preece was expecting Ryan Newman to slow down a little bit and try the crossover, but Ryan tried to hold his line there, and Preece ran into him.
Ryan Preece comes to the checkered flag and wins the Whelen All-Stars Shootout at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Here comes another big pack off the corner, fighting for the final few positions. Pennick in the middle of that group. And Ryan Preece made the bold attack, did it going into 1, did it aggressively, and it was just enough.
Yeah, Preece knew this was his only chance he was going to have in order to win the race, so he really drove the car in the corner right there, and he drifted up, got into the left front of the 77, and ended in Newman's day there. It was a good race. You know, those 2 guys battled hard all day long.
One more look. Contact right there on one of those Nerf bars at the back. Newman with a nice save. And then a little bump at the end there.
Give him a little love tap, a little hand out the window.
Well, we'll come back and we'll hear from them as Ryan Preece heads to victory lane. Big weekend for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Points race yet to go tomorrow, but today was all about the All-Star race. The series champion, former series champion, Ryan Preece, ready to climb out and talk to Derek.
Ryan Preece picks up the win here this afternoon in the Whelen All-Star Shootout. Getting the congratulations from the crew. Your first win here at the Magic Mile. Mike Herman said over the radio, you're going to get 1 shot at this, and it was going to be the last lap. Was that the case?
Yeah, I tried to make it happen there with 2 to go, and I just didn't feel like I was going to be able to clear him enough, so I tucked back in line and got a run enough down the front stretch. Tried to pull, like, you know, send it in there and slide in front of him, and he tried to stay in there, and I was sliding up, you know. I never want to get into Ryan because he's been a great mentor of mine, and I like racing him a lot, so it was tough. I mean, I hate it. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm proud. I'm proud if you win like that. I'm proud of the fact that I finally won at New Hampshire, but that always takes away from it a little bit.
Ryan Preece wins his first race of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway here this afternoon, setting the tone for the big race this weekend.
All right, so now go victory lane.
Well, let's take a look at the final results here. Emmerling holds on for third. Andy Seiss, as you mentioned, had a good run, Tommy. He comes home in fourth.
Yep, Doug Colby rounded out the top 5. Donnie Lear 6th in the number 7.
Well, we're going to head right back down to the victory lane area for another post-race interview. Let's get Ryan Newman's version of that final lap.
Well, Ryan Newman gives a little bit of a headlock to Ryan Preece in victory lane out there, so a little bit of bumping and banging, but fun between friends, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I think the last lap we avoided the friendship, but got to congratulate him. He did a good job. He was in the right position at the right time. I was kind of a sitting duck, but I was just kind of waiting to see what his move was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be with 2 to go or 1 to go, and he kind of showed his nose there earlier. And I thought I could hold him off, and then he just drove it in harder and slid up and took the position. I mean, that was he didn't do it on purpose. I know he didn't do it on purpose, but he won the race that way, so it's all good. We got to thank Menards, Aggressive Hydraulics, and all the guys that helped put this deal together, because hopefully we put on a decent show for the fans there. I know it was just the 2 of us, but we'd rather have it that way.
How is the track? They laid down some VHT track bite in the corners, but some guys were complaining about it, some guys liked it. What was your take on it?
You're always going to have that. I think that it reminded me of how the modifieds were here 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago when we run up on the top, on the gray, on the edge, and you kind of had to think about your pass and make sure you made that pass and cleaned it, cleared that pass. And, overall, I thought it was a good race.
Good second place for Ryan Newman this afternoon.
Well, he'll be getting ready for the big cup race come Sunday. But Patrick Emmerling, well, he had a good run all afternoon long. He was in the thick of things and in the hunt for the win here today. Let's go back down to Derek and hear from Patrick.
Well, Patrick Emmerling started 4th at the drop of the green, finished 3rd for a great podium finish. But was it a case where the leaders just took off and hid from each other?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We had an awesome car earlier on, and we were able to jump out to the early lead. We just got a little bit snug there towards the end of that first run, and then car came back a little bit for the second run, and then I just kind of, by the time I got out there after the invert, those 2 were just gone, so I just lost the draft with them. Then I just kind of tightened up a little bit, just couldn't catch them. So we were kind of out there by ourselves then. No, we ran the same car today that we're running tomorrow, so we'll got some good notes out of it, and we'll be ready to get them tomorrow.
Guys, he's been knocking at the door. Pretty soon he's going to kick it right down. That's Patrick Emmerling. He finishes 3rd.